This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. In news from the crime front, police on Grand Bahama issuing 2 wanted person posters for alleged crime suspects. Leading off the list, 33-year-old Jamal Jerome Chatlin, wanted by Criminal Investigation Department in Grand Bahama for murder. Chatlin, 5 feet 8 inches, medium brown in complexion, dark brown eyes, medium built with dreadlocks. His last known address, 110 Watergate Drive, Grand Bahama. Meantime, also wanted by CID on Grand Bahama is 48-year-old Vaughn Antonio Johnson, who also goes by the alias Juan Johnson. He's wanted for fraud. Johnson's last known address is number 5 Marathon Road, here in New Providence. He stands at 5 feet 6, an average build of 155 pounds. Police cautioning the public to approach Chatlin and Johnson with extreme caution. Chatlin is considered armed and dangerous. We now turn our attention to the image on your screen. Police are seeking your assistance in identifying this man. His name, age, and last known address are all unknown. However, police say he's a medium brown complexion, medium built, stands between 5 feet 9 and 6 feet in height, and of a medium build. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of this man is asked to contact the Criminal Investigation Division at 502-9991, or you can download the P3 Tips app to send information anonymously. In news from the court, 6 men arraigned in the magistrate's court this afternoon. The Criminal Investigation Department escorted the men who were charged with murder, assault with a deadly weapon, and possession of illegal firearm. Our Cale Campbell was at the Nassau Street complex and files this report.
It was a busy day in the magistrate's court for Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt. 6 persons stood before the Chief Magistrate charged with various offenses including murder, attempted murder, possession of illegal firearms, and ammunition. The 6, 5 males and a female, were arrested on Saturday, April 30th after officers searched a vehicle driven by the female with the male passenger and 4 men in the trunk of the vehicle. According to Acting Commissioner of Police during a Zoom press briefing that past Monday, police were alerted to prowlers at a residential property in eastern New Providence. When officers responded, they saw 4 people armed with high-powered rifles and pistols run away from the yard and into a small vehicle. A chase ensued and the individuals fired a number of shots from the back windshield of that vehicle, which caused damage to the police vehicle. The vehicle crashed and officers pursued the suspects, however, they got away. A short time later, police saw occupants of another vehicle acting suspiciously. That vehicle was stopped, and following a search, officers discovered the men in the back trunk armed with a rifle and a pistol. A short time later, police saw occupants of another vehicle acting suspiciously. That vehicle was stopped, and following a search, officers discovered the men in the back trunk armed with a rifle and a pistol. Now, prosecutors allege that on the day in question, Ricardo White, Glenda Stubbs, Roger Wallace, Shaquille Monroe, Raekwon Alexis, and Aljon Stubbs were found in possession of a Zastava Serbia rifle and a 9mm Glock 17, along with 2 types of ammunition. All 6 defendants pleaded not guilty to those charges. Ricardo White and Glenda Stubbs were granted $9,500 bail under the condition they report to Elizabeth States Police Station 3 times a week. Now, Roger Wallace was charged with 2 counts of murder that occurred in 2021. He was charged with the September 16 killing of Anton Brown and the August 17 killing of Navarda Narin. Wallace returns to court on November 30th for service of a voluntary bill of indictment. Shaquille Monroe was charged with the March 17th murder of Kenny Rigwad. He returns to court for the matter on December 1st of VBI. Meantime, Monroe and Raekwon Alexis were both charged with the attempted murder of Rashad Sullivan and Robert Delancey. This incident happened March 30th. The pair was further charged with the attempted murder of Kayuano Telfort and Kevin Mezidou on April 3rd and possession of a firearm. During the reading of his charges, Monroe told the chief magistrate that CDU planted the murder on him. The pair returns to court for VBI on November 30th. For JCN News, I'm Cale Campbell.
In his capacity as Progressive Liberal Party chairman, Foreign Affairs and Public Service Minister Fred Mitchell fires back at F&M chairman and Senator Dr. Dwayne Sands, who has been critical of the government's decision in related to 10% value-added tax on bread basket items. On Monday, in a voice note that went viral on social media, Dr. Sands accused the government of driving more Bahamian families into poverty and sacrificing them on the altar of tax efficiency. By refusing to eliminate VAT on medicine and bread basket food items, holding nothing back, Mr. Mitchell suggested Dr. Sands and F&M Deputy Leader Shannon Don Cartwright's efforts are only for show.
I had to put on my other hat, that of chair of the party, to respond to the self-serving, sanctimonious, dishonest, supercilious comments of the chairman of the F&M, Dr. Dwayne Sands. Dr. Sands says that the PLP is sacrificing the poor on the altar of tax efficiency. Dr. Sands knows better. He and his deputy leader are beating this dead horse about how bread basket items attract VAT. Their arguments are so stupid and puerile. They all know that what they're advocating will not help the poor one bit. All it is trying to find some clever words to attack the PLP.
Mr. Mitchell reminded again that it was then the F&M that raised VAT from 7.5% to 12%, and it was the F&M that voted for extended lockdowns during the COVID pandemic. That forced many citizens out of work and into poverty. Mr. Mitchell says the country is rebounding. He is of the opinion there are some things politically the Bahamas can do without at this time.
The country is in a slow climb back. There are lots of clouds on the horizons. But what we don't need from Dr. Sands and the F&M is shameless pandering and outright political dishonesty. And don't hang your hat on Rupert Roberts' SuperValue, who just a few months ago said, "Don't fool with VAT." And now he comes back and says, "We must fool with VAT." He goes and comes. But Gowan Bowe, the banker, told them all that ignorance does not become politicians. Dwayne Sands knows that what they are doing, if they do what he suggests, you are in fact benefiting the rich, not helping the poor. But that's the F&M way anyway. So, Dr. Sands and the F&M, keep your advice to yourself.
Still no update on the timeline of the widely anticipated minimum wage legislation that is expected to usher in the increase of minimum wage in the country from $5.25 per hour to a more acceptable level. In recent weeks, many Bahamians have expressed outrage over the high cost of living in the country as it compares to the low wage of pay. Well, Minister of Labor and Immigration Keith Bell telling reporters on Wednesday that while he still can't give a timeline of the completion of the bill itself, he does expect to see a completed report from the Department of Labor very soon.
Well, I cannot say that because obviously it is determined by Cabinet, but I can say that I should be in possession of the report from the Department of Labor on Monday, which will direct and the National Tripartite Council, which will guide the Cabinet of the Bahamas in terms of where we ought to go. And then there will be widespread dialogue and consultation with both the private and the public sector.
And what does this report consist of again?
Well, it will indicate where the needle ought to go in terms of the livable wage and the eradication of a minimum wage.
Just last Tuesday, the minister told reporters that he expects legislation to introduce a livable wage in country to be presented to this public this year. This was some weeks after he noted that his ministry was expecting to receive recommendations from the National Tripartite Council on the same. Now, there has been ongoing talk surrounding the minimum wage issue for years, but it has taken center stage since the International Monetary Fund projected a 7.3% rise in consumer prices for the Bahamas this year. The last time we saw a change in the rate of minimum wage in the country was back in 2015 under the Christie administration, when the rate was increased from $3.75 per hour, or $150 a week, to $210. As for the rate of the proposed increase, well, successive governments have been generally mum on the subject. However, economic scholars at the University of the Bahamas and across the country have predicted a 19% jump from the current $210 to $250 per week. It is believed that the increase will be purely inflationary as a means of sustaining the economy due to the current rate of inflation in the region. Despite this, as it stands, the Bahamas has the highest living wage in the CARICOM. Well, that's news this evening. Once again, I'm Synovia Williams, and from all of us here at JCN News, have a wonderful rest of the day.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.